These are the 7 most dramatic stories you'll ever hear, from family wars to gym showdowns, and even a house guest who ate everything. Some stories are funny, some are petty, but these ones, they're downright dramatic. From humiliations caught on camera, to secret addictions, to family wars that could tear weddings apart today. We're counting down the top 7 most dramatic stories you won't believe. Let's get into it. Sure, you may video me at the gym, but not for free. I do calisthenics and weightlifting, and I often get people asking me to teach them certain moves. I don't really want to, in honesty, because I'm not a personal trainer, and I don't want to instruct anybody incorrectly. But I really don't want to deter anyone from exercise, and I understand me saying no would be really uncomfortable and discouraging for any newcomer. 7/10 the men who ask me are actually interested in learning the move. I have great experiences with them. The other 3 have a habit of asking me to do the exercise in front of them to learn and running off or telling me they'll do it next session. I always assumed they just got nervous. Maybe they don't want to fail in front of me, until today the reason slapped me square in my face. A man came to me and asked me to show him how to do a one-handed elbow lever. I was halfway through my hip thrust set, and I told him, "I've got my hip thrust set to do. I don't know if I have time," and he said he'd wait. So I'm doing my hip thrust set while Hayes watching me the entire time, and comfortably close. I finish my set, Hayes clearly dying to learn. I asked him if he can do 2 hands, and he said he could. So I get to showing him how to do one hand in the peripheral of my eye. I see Hayes filming. He initially tried to gaslight me by saying I gave him permission. Agreeing to show him and film me are very different things. I told him to delete the video, and upon seeing the video, it was zoomed into my behind. A trainer at the gym overheard this and came across and tried to intervene. And I said, "No, there's been a misunderstanding. Everything is fine," because I decided at that moment that I wanted payment from the guy. In fact, I want payment from now on from every man who pressures me into teaching them without intention of actually attempting the move. I want payment in tears, sweat, and dignity. The trainer leaves and I tell him it's his turn. And of course he tries to wriggle out of it like they all do. "I'll do it tomorrow. I've had a full workout. I've got to get back." No, get on your knees. I'm going to pressure you exactly how you pressured me to do this one armed elbow lever, and do it in front of everyone. And they're gonna watch you fail. They're gonna see how much weaker you are compared to a 5'2" girl. I'm gonna stand over you and watch you shake and attempt. Well, you can't even get your feet off the floor with 2 hands. I'm going to pressure you into public failure that you never wanted. Make you just as uncomfortable as you made me.
Everyone thinks I'm clean. I'm not. I just got smarter at hiding it. I used to be this lazy, depressed pothead. Barely left my room. My sister was embarrassed of me. My boyfriend kept telling me to get my life together. I looked like a lost cause. At work, I used to be known as the angry guy. Now I'm the funny guy. Everyone thinks I'm fixed. They say I've changed. I smile. I joke around. I look healthy. They call me a success story. Truth is, I just switched to pills. They wake me up, make me talkative, make me look like I actually enjoy life. Without them, everything feels gray and heavy. I tried being sober. I really did. I couldn't even enjoy gaming or my favorite shows anymore. It was like everything fun just left. Sometimes I'm sitting there with my boyfriend or my family, and all I can think is, I'm so high right now, and none of them know. It's been 3 years like this. One weekend, I couldn't get any, and I thought my body was shutting down. Sweating, shaking, crying in the bathroom, while everyone thought I had food poisoning. That's when I realized, this ends ugly. But I don't even care. I can't be sober. I don't enjoy anything sober. Everyone thinks I beat my demons. Really, I just dress them up so they look nicer.
Am I the jerk for not wanting our friend to ever come back to our house after he ate literally everything we owned? My husband and I live abroad. Earlier this year, a mutual acquaintance, let's call him K, reached out saying he'd been scammed with an apartment rental and had nowhere to stay. At first, we only offered a weekend, but he was polite, helped around the house, and seemed grateful. So we ended up letting him stay the full 20 days he'd asked for. During that time, some things rubbed us the wrong way. He never bought groceries, and multiple times he pretended he was going to pay but forgot his wallet or claimed he could only use Apple Pay not accepted at our local supermarket. He'd eat way more than his share once my husband and I shared half a pizza, and he ate the other pizza and a half without contributing. Still, we felt bad for him, so we let it go. We stayed friendly, and a few months later we were planning a 17-day trip. Since he was struggling with rent, we offered him to stay at our place in exchange for taking care of our dog. I even wrote a Google Doc with instructions for the house, dog care, gym access, etc. I told him he could eat anything that was going to expire: fruit, veggies, yogurt, etc. When we came back, everything was gone. And I mean everything. The entire fridge, freezer, pantry. He finished jars of jam, a jar of peanut butter, a giant Costco bottle of olive oil, condiments, rice, snacks, cheese, even my husband's supplements: creatine, protein, collagen. He completely destroyed a ceramic pan. He consumed things that usually last us 6 months in just 2 weeks. I honestly suspect he might have taken stuff with him because it's insane how much was missing. I didn't confront him except to ask him to replace the pan, which he mocked me about. It's just a pan. Why are you making it a big deal? I felt deeply disrespected. Now he keeps texting me, acting like nothing happened, and wants to hang out. I told my husband I don't want him in our home ever again. My husband says I'm being too harsh, and if he wants to stay friends, that's his choice. But I feel completely taken advantage of and disrespected. So, am I the jerk for not wanting to see this guy ever again and refusing to let him come back to our house? Am I the jerk for warning my sister I would leave her off the wedding guest list if she doesn't stop pushing me to ask mom's husband to walk me down the aisle? My sister 22 and I 29 share the same biological parents. I was 9 and she was 1. Our dad died and I was 11 and she was 4 when our mom remarried. For lots of reasons, we don't have the same relationship with mom's second husband. To my sister, he's dad. He's the best guy in the world and she will scream from the rooftops to defend him. A few years ago, she went no contact with her dad's parents and siblings because she took offense to them calling us his little girls in a card they left on his grave. She told them we were our stepfather's little girl and that dad didn't raise us like he did. This was the first time we ever had a real fight between us, though we had bickered and disagreed on this topic before, because I told her he was not and would never be my dad. She accused our grandparents, aunts and uncles of disrespecting our stepfather and of turning me against my family, and she told them she hoped they joined dad like they wanted to so bad since they wouldn't come to terms with who our real dad is now. The fight between us continued beyond my sister cutting dad's family out of her life. She told me she had no idea I would be so set in my ways still and that she thought I'd have seen things clearer being older. I told her it's because I'm older that I don't see it the same. I told her nobody replaced my dad. She told me it wasn't normal to have someone else raise you and to feel like they weren't your real parent. I reminded her I was 11 when he married mom, so he didn't even raise me as long as dad did. Then she said I had known him longer, though, and parenting doesn't end at 18. I pointed out I no longer lived with them at 18 and I never went to him for parenting or for support. She argued he loved me as much as her and he didn't deserve to be the guy mom married. This fight lasted close to 5 weeks and I had to take some time from her before it turned into something physical. She got so worked up I expected it to become that. We did make up, kinda, but we're still very much not on the same page about mom's husband. We also had a smaller fight over this topic around Father's Day because it was the 20th one without dad and she didn't like my post too. Dad and felt it invalidated mom's husband. And maybe it did in her eyes because he became our dad when he married mom to her. But the reality is he only became her dad and never mine. And I'm not even close to him or to mom anymore because they could never wrap their heads around me not accepting him as my dad or my parent. Now the fight has turned to my wedding, and the fact mom's second husband will not be father of the bride, will not walk me down the aisle, get a dance, or have a standout place at the wedding. He's mom's +1 and that's it for me. He'll be acknowledged in a toast with her, but that's it. My sister doesn't like it and has made it her mission to force my hand into asking him. She even went behind my back and told him I was going to ask and had finally come around and started a whole clown show between me and Mom over it. Mom's husband was too busy sulking over not being asked to fight it out with me. And that's a whole other thing. I won't get into it here. I confronted my sister over what she did. She said she was trying to get me to do the right thing. We argued and it turned into another fight. This is when I told her I would leave her off the guest list if she doesn't stop pushing. My sister told me I have always hated her for loving Mom's husband, for not wanting Dad to be her dad, but to have him as her dad because he's alive. She told me she never understood picking some dead guy over someone still alive who wanted to be our dad. She said I ruined our family. I told her I couldn't take my love away from Dad and give it to somebody else, and I couldn't love somebody who tried to make me love them and tried to take a spot claimed by another. My sister got incredibly frustrated and started cussing me out. But then she told me I was being a jerk and threatening to keep her away from my wedding was to punish her when she didn't deserve it and that I was asking for too much. I told her I was serious and I walked away from the fight, and I have refused to engage since. She has tried and she has told me I can't keep her away from my wedding. I'm not being fair and she loves me and doesn't want to miss her only sister getting married. But I'm seriously thinking I might need to keep her away. When I talked about what Mom's husband would not be at my wedding, I should have said that was the plan before things kicked off. Now neither Mom or her husband are invited because of the argument that happened after my sister lied. Am I the jerk? You want the server down during business hours? You got it. I used to work IT at a mid-sized logistics company. Our warehouse ran 24/7, but the corporate office was open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. I was responsible for maintaining the internal server that handled everything from payroll to inventory management to shipping labels. One Monday morning, I got an email from a higher-up, let's call her Karen, demanding that we take the server offline immediately for scheduled maintenance. Now, I had scheduled that maintenance for Sunday evening, sent out 3 notices, and got no objections. But Karen hadn't read those emails and was now insisting we do it right now during her working hours. I replied, taking the server offline during business hours will temporarily halt access to the shipping system, inventory, time tracking, and payroll processing. Confirm you'd like me to proceed. She replied, and I quote, yes. You should be working on my schedule. Get it done now. All right. Malicious compliance time. I looped in the warehouse manager and let him know the system would be down per Karen's urgent request. Then I pulled the plug at exactly 10:30 a.m. Within 15 minutes, the office was in chaos. No one could clock in or out, print labels, track shipments, or even check inventory levels. Phones were ringing off the hook. The CFO stormed into my office asking what the hell was going on. I just showed him the email thread. Less than 30 minutes later, Karen came to my office red-faced and yelling. I calmly pointed out that she had approved the server downtime in writing despite warnings. I offered to restore access early, but reminded her it would take time to reboot and check for errors from the forced shutdown. Fallout. Oh yes, she got dragged into a meeting with the COO and CTO that afternoon. From what I heard, it didn't go well for her. After that, all urgent IT requests from management had to go through a change management process with multiple approvals. I also got a little bonus on my next paycheck for handling the outage with professionalism. Sometimes the best way to teach someone why we have procedures is to let them break one once. Am I the jerk for humiliating my husband in front of his boss and coworkers? So on Wednesday, I was picking up my husband from work because his car is broken. When I arrived, he was standing in front of the building, talking to his boss male and to coworkers female and male. I joined them and we had a little chat. But then my husband started telling a story from vacation about how I stepped on a crab and got attacked. At the time, I didn't think much of it. I was just confused because I had no idea when it happened. After a moment, I realized it and said aloud, "But it happened to you, not me." Remember, we even have a photo from the hospital. His coworkers and boss laughed, but he went a bit quiet. But the topic quickly changed, so I didn't even think twice. It wasn't until we got home that my husband asked me, How could I have done this to him? I asked him what I did and he said that I humiliated him in front of his boss and coworkers. He said I shouldn't have corrected him and that I completely misread the room. He's been sulking ever since. Am I the jerk for not bringing my daughter's friend home and making her parents come get her? My daughter and I live about an hour outside New York City. Since she was a baby, I've taken her there most weekends. As she got older, she occasionally brought friends. They always know the rules. Bring a bag with things for the train, carry your own stuff, stick together, expect lots of walking, and have fun. Phones are fine, but I encourage screen-free activities. I always speak to parents beforehand and emphasize the walking. We sometimes walk 45 minutes or more. For her 12th birthday last weekend, she wanted to go to the city with friends, visit favorite spots, have dinner, and maybe see a show. My mom helped pay for tickets and joined us. My daughter invited 3 girls, 2 longtime friends who know the routine, and a new friend, Leah. I called Leah's mom, explained the rules, warned about the walking, and suggested Leah bring something for the train since the signal is bad. Leah's mom said she was excited. My daughter also explained expectations. On the train, Leah brought only her phone, got bored when the signal cut out, refused to chat or play games with the others, and complained. When we arrived, she immediately asked for a cab. My daughter reminded her we walk. As we browsed shops, Leah kept whining and asking for a cab. I stayed patient, offered water and snack breaks, and even suggested the subway to be nice, but she refused when she learned what it was. A few hours in, we stopped for dinner at a place with options for everyone. Leah complained again and said she wanted to go home. I pulled her aside to check if she was sick or upset. She just said it was boring. I told her we'd be there a few more hours for the show, but if she wanted to leave, she could call her mom. Leah called, and her mom asked me to bring her back. Even if my mom or I left with Leah and took a train back after we dropped her off, we'd miss the show, and my daughter wanted both of us there. I explained we wouldn't head back until after the show. Leah's mom didn't want to pay for a train ticket or drive. She eventually sent Leah's dad, who picked her up before the show. Leah stayed crappy through dinner. Afterward, Leah's mom trashed me to the other moms, but they backed me up, saying they wouldn't expect me to cut the trip short unless a child was sick or hurt, which I would do. Now Leah's mom won't let her hang out with my daughter. I can't help wondering if I should have just sucked it up and taken her home. Am I the jerk? Which story do you think was the most dramatic? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more countdowns every week. All rights belong to the original author. This video is for narration, entertainment purposes only.